Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing this with your friends. Today's episode is with our friend Stella Cosby. Stella was born in Sparta, Greece, so cool. Came to Canada at 4 years of age, lived in Windsor, London, Toronto, Waterloo, and Calgary. Stella is a mother of one, and get this, a wife of one. So funny. Their son left to go to university in Ontario at the age of 17 and decided to stay there. Must have been a smarty pants. He's had the opportunity to know his grandparents, aunts, and cousins. It's been a true gift for him and for them. Besides her loved ones, Stella is extremely passionate about understanding the intersection of people, personal development, and leadership. She believes that people and their continuous personal improvement and development is the single biggest driver of business success, and that leadership is the act of intervening to create a future that wasn't going to happen anyway. Friends, you'll find her full bio attached. Stella, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kat. Lovely to be here.
I'm really glad you're here. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Are you ready for the questions?
Sure.
Excellent. Now, why have you done what you do? Where do you get your passion from?
Well, I love working with people in organizations that are going through lots of change and transformation. So I like the messiness of change and transformation and big problems. I've always been attracted to that. And so how I know I'm really engaged is if my brain has goosebumps. Because I'm working and being with people that are engaged, they're smart in their area of expertise, and they're making a difference for the organization. Because at the end of the day, if the organization can't succeed, people can't succeed then. So we have to make sure that we work together so that the people, they develop, they grow, and they make a huge difference in the organization. And a key part of that, in my point of view, is leadership. I see leadership as active. I'm not talking about command and control, but I see leaders are actively doing something. And that comes from this definition that I shared with you, is that if you're a leader, what you're doing is you're going to create a future that wasn't going to happen if you didn't intervene, right? Otherwise, you can just keep going along. And the metaphor that I like to use is if you put your canoe in a river and you get in and you just allow the canoe to go with the tide, you'll go anywhere. As a leader, you need to make sure you use the paddle to intervene at appropriate times so you can take the team and the organization to your destination. Otherwise, why have a leader? So I was introduced to that a few years back, and I really like that definition because it really defines leadership in a very different context.
It really does. I love that analogy, Stella. Thank you.
Oh, you're
and
welcome.
So you're going to be as busy as you want to be during these times.
Well, I don't know. What I've done is I've been fortunate that I've been coached and sponsored and mentored all my years. I've had some amazing leaders, and I really enjoy coaching and mentoring people. And I've always done that. I love to see the success of my team members from, let's say, 25 years ago, and now they're in very senior positions. And I like to think that I was able to give them the experiences and the leadership that allowed them to grow and develop. And so it's fabulous. That's one of the things I'm doing a little bit more of now, is just coaching and mentoring informally as a volunteer, because I really want to take the time to give back. When you're working full time, it's very difficult to do some of those things.
So true. And you've done so much for our community as well as the work that you've done. So thanks, Stella. And what about your top 3 things that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, I think the first one is we're going through some very difficult times. So how do we reframe the fact that, we are in lockdown in some situations and we're not able to get about? So what do we do? So how do we reframe it? And so one of the things that I like to think about is that growth and comfort, they never coexist. If you're really, really comfortable in what you're learning, what you're doing, perhaps you're not stretching yourselves. So it's okay to feel uncomfortable. So if you are in that place where you're uncomfortable, think about, what are you going to learn? What are you here to learn? Because that's when we stretch and we try on different mindsets. The second thing, and I think this one applies to women because I'm very passionate about supporting women in business. The second one, it really is, perfection is the enemy of good enough.
Huh.
Right? And so if we're always looking for perfection, it's going to be hard to deliver anything of substance. It's okay to deliver something that is good enough so that you can go back in and reiterate, because it's a continuous process. And I find that women, many times we want to make things perfect. So that's one of the things I keep in my mind as a woman. And the last thing for me is I am like anyone else. I'm really busy, and I'm busy with home life, family life. I'm busy with work and volunteering. And so sometimes I find that I'm juggling too many things. So I encourage people, if you're juggling, think about everything you're juggling as glass balls and rubber balls, right? So it's hard to keep them all in the air. Sometimes you have to prioritize. And so prioritize, you don't want to drop the glass ball because it's going to shatter and you may never get that opportunity again. But prioritize dropping the rubber balls, because if that's important, it'll bounce away, but it's going to come back and you'll get another chance at it. So don't have to juggle everything. Just make sure you juggle and focus and prioritize the right things, because there's a lot happening around us right now, and we got to give ourselves a little break.
Wow. Excellent analogies, Stella. I love it.
Well, that's how I can make things. That's how I can make things memorable for me.
Yeah.
And and the other thing, I guess I'll offer one last thing. I love being part of organizations that are doing amazing things, especially from change, because the place between the past and the future is the change. And that's where, as a leader, you can make incredible impacts to an organization, because you can design, you can innovate, you can co-create, get the team together. And that's where all the innovation and the great work comes in place, so that you can make the organization stronger. And so those are some of the things that keep me going. And now I'm at a second stage of my career right now, where I retired mid 2020. So July 1st, I was a retiree. And so that's one of the things that I've been thinking about for the last, I don't know how many years, 10 years or so. What am I going to do? Because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to go from 200 miles an hour to zero.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough, about 7 years ago, I was asked to be on a corporate board, and that was amazing. And I'm still on one. And so that's been a bit of a transition for me, because I was able to work full time as a professional executive, and then I was able to take on this other role as a corporate director. And I'm on my second board, and I'm finding ways to utilize what I've learned, my experiences, the various industries that I've worked in, and the great experience that I've had. So that's helping me transition to retirement. But I'm pretty busy still mentoring. I'm mentoring somebody from young women in energy. Women get on, women, board ready women. And so I'm doing some stuff that I think is really important to do, to give back.
Oh, that's awesome. How lucky for your mentee, my friend. That's all I'll say.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I've actually been asked to join the Women Get on Board Regional Ambassador Council. So that'll be another new experience for me.
That's awesome.
The right corporate board comes along, I'll take on another one.
That's excellent. And a good mention too. That's awesome to know. And that's certainly changing right now with governance and all those pieces, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's really, it's a moment now. Women, we've been trying to access those high positions, whether it's boards or executive leadership positions. So it's a good time for women. We haven't come as far as we need to, but we've made some progress, but there's a long way to go.
Well, keep up the good fight, my friend. You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, Stella. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Stella Cosby, everyone. Amazing, an amazing human, a great citizen, and certainly has been an amazing leader and always someone I looked up to. I am delighted that she could join us, and thank you for joining us today on Cat's Track. We'll see you next time.